Good morning. Welcome. It's so nice to see all of you here today. And I just wanted to point out, if any of you haven't met our new music director, Will, be sure to say hello to him after the service. So we want to make him feel welcome here. So yeah, let's.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So a little work here before we start the service. In addition to the prayer request forms and the form to be on our mailing list on the back table, I've added some little business cards that were made for Feeding the Flathead. And if you want to take a couple of those, if you know someone that might be able to use a meal, on the back of the card, it lists by day where those meals are held, and the majority of them start at 6 o'clock. So if you want to pick up a couple cards off the table, that would be great. I think it's, Diane, it's over on the, no, it's on the table. Right, it should be right behind you. Sorry. So we like to pray here, and there are prayer request forms on the back table, and you can also send a prayer request to cslkalispell@gmail.com, and we will pray with you and for you. Reverend Yvonne and I will pray with you and for you all week. Additionally, if you're new here, you're here for the first time, or you want to know a little bit more about us, there are some welcome packets in the foyer, and be sure to help yourself to them. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming. We're blessed by your presence, and we have a congregational song for you.
So go ahead and stand up and feel blessed this morning. I am blessed with the richness of God. I am strong in the power of God. I am guided by His wisdom, held in my good. I am blessed with the richness of God. I am blessed with the richness of God. I am strong in the power of God. I am guided by His wisdom, held in my good. I am blessed by the richness of God. Solo. I am blessed by the richness of God. I am strong with the power of God. I am guided by His wisdom, held in my good. I am blessed with the richness of God. I am blessed with the richness of God. I am blessed with the power of God. I am guided by His wisdom, held in my good. I am blessed by the richness of God. I am blessed by the richness of God.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us, Audie and Jamila and Will and Red Star. We so appreciate you. So it's that time in our service where we get to bless our children. And we're going to, after blessing the children will be going downstairs for Sunday school after the prayer. So if you would join me in blessing the child within you, the children of the world, and the children here in our congregation, let's say this prayer together. We see you, who you really are, made in the image and likeness of God. We cherish you, we support you, and we love you. And so if you take just a deep breath and move your consciousness into that heart space and know with me, there is only one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. That life is each one of us, individualized expressions of the one, creating the whole. We are light and love and peace and joy and power and health and wholeness and abundance. And what we know is there is nothing, absolutely nothing outside of God. Therefore, we are one with it. So as I speak my word this day, I speak it knowing truly that as we move forward through the ensuing week, we move forward knowing we are strengthened and supported by the divine. Knowing that that powerful presence of spirit infills us and vibrates in every cell and fiber of our being. That our day and our week unfolds with ease and grace in divine right order. And we are grateful. We are grateful for that powerful presence of God in which we reside. We are grateful for the light and the love and the strength of spirit. We are grateful for the support of the one. We simply say thank you, God, as we release these words now to the perfect working of the perfect law that always, always, and only says yes. Please join me in affirming, and so it is. Amen.
I am blessed with the richness of God. I am strong in the power of God. I am guided by His wisdom, held in my good. I am blessed with the richness of God.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. That was beautiful. And we are blessed with the richness of God. And because I don't know how to do the slides, we've got the slide that says Happy Valentine's Day. So there you go. And I'm just thinking, as they're finishing up that song, and Reverend Linda is going downstairs with our children or child for Sunday school, I'm thinking how wonderful it is that this is where we've come back to. We had a lovely Sunday school program, and then COVID hits. You know, all kinds of things happen all through life. You know, things happen, and of course there's always change, and then there's what we get is an emptiness. You know, now what? And we go with the status quo for a while. But that doesn't satisfy us, I don't believe, as human beings. And if it does, it doesn't satisfy us for very long. Because especially here, we want to keep moving. We want to bring in families. We want people to feel welcome here and feel a part of this and feel like they're contributing and feel that they're needed, because that's exactly what happens here. Everyone is needed here. Everyone's a part of this tapestry of life. And it's not an either or, it's yes. It's a yes to life. And so we come together in community and we do our business and we stand under the shelter of each other, and what we experience all through life, no matter how we label it or how we experience it, everything that we experience in life is either a call for love or an expression of love. Everything. Let's just breathe into that. Everything is either a call for love, from the slightest little, whatever we want to call it, being dissed or whatever it is, to the greatest atrocity. It's a call for love. And everything that we give out, from a smile to the listening to great donations, whatever it is we are giving from self, is an expression of love. So what else is there in life? That's what life's about. Expressing, giving, receiving. And it all starts at that very core of us. And how it comes forth can either be expressions of love or calls for love. And we usually experience both throughout our lifetime. So a couple of weeks ago, I told you about Ted Sean, the divinity student who had polio, who was told he'd never walk, and that he decided, he saw a dance troupe, and he decided he really wanted to dance. And regardless of what he'd been told, regardless of what the medical field had shown him, he couldn't walk, he had polio. He decided he was dropping out of divinity school. He was going to work on his body, and he became what is known as the father of dance back then. He became the father of dance. And this was the important thing to know, though. The most important thing for us to understand is that when he was in divinity school, studying God did not heal him. Studying God doesn't heal anyone, but the embodiment of God, the embodiment of truth, the embodiment of that power within us and for us and around us is what will heal us every single time. And we have to be courageous. We have to be courageous when we step into a place where we've said it's not, or where we've been told it's not possible, or a place where we've already believed it's not going to change. We have to be careful and recognize that's what we believe. That's not only what we're telling ourselves that based on a belief we have. So you see, we have to go back to the source of our acceptance and see what the belief is. That's what we're doing all the time, or that's what's available to us all the time. And that's where curiosity comes in. I was talking last week about curiosity and how all great things happen because someone was curious with an idea. And it isn't about getting shot down once and stopping, as I mentioned with Thomas Edison, over 1,000 failed experiments. But all he learned, or what he accumulated there, was 1,000 ways it didn't work, and went on to how it did work. So that's what, if you consider your lifetime, we've probably had 1,000 things that might not have turned out just like we wanted. So we don't have to look forward, I've got another 1,000 to go. But we get to look at what we've learned from our 1,000 experiences and where we want to go. And we do that through curiosity. And I think it's really, really important for us to be curious about ourselves, curious about our own beliefs, curious about our reactions and responses, curious about our fears, and curious about our boldness. What makes one so bold that they'll step up to the edge of a cliff? I see these commercials, and it's on television, mind you, and it still makes my stomach just flop when you see someone on top of this mountain peak looking over. I think I couldn't even crawl off that thing, So curiosity. But here's the thing about being curious with ourselves. If we approach things with a curiosity, we can approach things with a gentleness and an ease that we don't have when we're judging. And it's really, really important that we are really like the observer out here, looking at what our beliefs are and looking at what it is that's a reaction to something. I'm curious. Why won't I go up to that great height? Because I know I'd fall over. That's as far as it goes. I know I would fall off that cliff. I know I'd fall off that mountain. There's no question about it. And so knowing that, don't you know, if I was up there, I would. Yeah. So we get to be curious, but we want to be curious for self-discovery. That's what it's about, self-discovery. You don't want someone else defining you. You don't want your behavior being defined to you by someone else. You want to know yourself. You want to know why you are what you are. Self-discovery. And then when we move into more self-discovery, you know what we get faced with? It's just right there in front of us. We are called to accountability. We are called to accountability. When we go into self-discovery and we learn more and more that life doesn't happen to us, it happens through us. It happens to us if we find that we feel like the victim and we have no recourse and we have no anything. But that comes not from the experience itself. It comes from what we tell ourselves about that experience. It comes from what we've decided we can do about it. I love the story of Gandhi being on that train. He was traveling on a train in 1893 at night, and he was jerked off the train because of his color. Left at an empty railroad station, and it was very, very cold there. He was left without a blanket, without anything, all night long. And later on, years later, he was asked, well, how did you feel? That must have been the worst night of your life. That must have been the most distressing feeling to be left there like that, and all of that hatred towards you. And he says, no. He said, it was the most creative night of my life. What? It was the most creative night of his life. Now, what do you think he was thinking? I can't even imagine. Was he thinking, I must love all beings. I must forgive all beings. I have no idea. But Reverend Thurman said that there is within us the capacity to reach that deep, deep channel within us, that we will take from that intuitive goodness that lies within us and respond to the world. So rather than thinking, I don't wonder what he thought, but I believe he was a being who reached into that deep channel of goodness within him and used it. So that's what I'm talking about. We have the opportunity to respond. It's how we respond or react to the incident. It's not the incident itself. And if it is, it's only for a short time. It's how we respond to it. That could have made him a victim for life. Thrown off the train in the middle of the night, freezing cold. That was the most creative night of my life. Oh my goodness. And then we know another story about Gandhi, about when he was put into prison. He was put into prison by a man who his name is Stout. His name was Stout. And Jan Smuts. He was put into prison by this man in South Africa. And he was put into jail. He was jailed many times by this guy. He just kept putting him into jail. Well, one time he put Gandhi into jail. And he was there for quite a little stretch. And Gandhi decided to do something with his time. So he made General Smuts a pair of handmade leather sandals. And he gave them to them. Now, this is what we want you to know. This is what I want you to know. Years later, after Gandhi had emerged as a victor, he came through. And as he did, Smuts would write him a note that still stands in a museum in South Africa. And he says, this is what the note said, I've worn these sandals for many a summer, even though I may feel I'm not worthy of standing in shoes of so great a man. It was my fate to be the antagonist of a man for whom even then I had the highest respect. Can you imagine those decades of civil rights struggle and your opponent declaring, what an honor to have you as my enemy, to lose to. Mr. Smuts, General Smuts, had the highest regard for Gandhi, but he acted on what he felt he had to do. Now, that's a reaction. I don't call that a response. But you and I are not in those kinds of situations mostly. So we get to take that breath, get that second thought, and determine how we're going to respond to the life that is in front of us, bringing the experience that's right there, and we get to choose. And if we want to engage in that, everything is either a call for love or an expression of love, we'll touch right down to that deep channel within us, that deep channel of intuitive goodness, and it will bring forth a gentleness and a kindness and a clarity of our beingness. We are accountable. The more we learn about ourselves, the more discovery we have of self and our motivations and our beliefs and our desires and our experiences, the higher we'll get in our experience to our expression in life. And we're just traveling along, trying to stay above the noise, right? Living above the noise, living in this beloved community, but living above the noise. So when huge things happen, like the when huge things happen, we can ask ourselves, what is my purpose here? What is my purpose? What is life calling to me for? What is it I'm to give forth in this? And we get to choose what it is, but we have to know ourselves well enough to know that we're choosing from that base, that center of intuitive goodness that resides within us. That doesn't mean pleasing others. It means not harming others. Doesn't mean giving in. It means giving out. It doesn't mean making adjustments we don't want to. It means expanding our idea of what could be. So I'm wondering how many of you thought to last week or during this past week, were you curious enough to look up something you didn't know, or curious enough to dig into something that was new to you, or curious enough to listen to something that was or read something that you wouldn't normally do? Our curiosity will carry us easily into things outside of ourselves that we can stop or go. But when you start doing the curiosity of self, it's just a go. It's just a go. Because our soul carries us forward. The desires of our soul, the desire of the expression of the heart carries us forward. It's an inward journey. And when we're asking, what is my purpose? Remember, the very thing you're searching for is within you. So that answer is within you. The answer, what am I searching for? What can I give? It is within you. And then we want to remember, we can trust that, because no matter what, all that you are and all that you aren't is in the divine, the perfection and grace and glory of God. All that you are and all that you aren't. That just means all that we do right and all the stuff we mess up with or whatever, it's all part of the love of God, in the love of God, and as the love of God. It's not separate. There's a new word I came across. Oh, I love new words. If I can remember, two things about a new word. I have to know how to pronounce it, and then I like it. And then I have to be able to explain it. But this new word came out, and it was proposed by Napan Mita, and it's called heartivism. Have you heard of it? Heartivism. I love that. He was writing this big article, and heartivism, he explains, invites us to act from the deeper channel within us. He's talking about love. He's talking about the essence of what we are, heartivism. And so there's, and we're first united. We recognize this through heartivism. We recognize that we're first united by our universality before we are differentiated by our particularities. So if you're in the midst of heartivism, you'll see people and what we have in common, what brings us together. We're both breathing air, rather than, they're not from my neighborhood. Yeah. So heartivism, I love that new word, and I know we're going to be hearing more of it because it goes beyond violence and nonviolence. It takes the nonviolence into action. It takes the nonviolence, not just turn the other cheek. It's find something that works with an intention to go beyond. It takes us further than we've ever been before, individually and collectively. This is a time for love, as I was saying, and there's disasters out there. There's the horrible earthquake, 25,000 people or more lost their lives, all the homeless, all the injured. There's, what's going on in countries that are trying to protect themselves from the wars and those that are instigating it. But it's across our earth, I believe. It's not just what we hear about. It's going on and has always gone on. And so we come together as a community and we pray. And we pray from a place of believing there's a power greater than we are. And we feel like we can activate this within ourselves, which means that we're putting this energy out that is bringing a different experience around. Before Gandhi went on the Salt March, there was 17 years there was years and years in the Gandhi movie between South Africa and when he went on the Salt March. But do you know, in all those years, there were 17 people in that ashram who continuously prayed and lived by the principles of the ashram, 11 laws. 17 people. Collectively, thousands benefited from that. Thousands, probably millions. So I look out and you look around, look across the aisle. Do you call us a small group? Possibly, accurately. But the power of a committed idea, the power, and it's not how we do it, it's what we do it with. It's not how we pray. It's where we're praying from. And if we pray from a belief within us, God, I don't know how this is going to happen. God, I don't even know why it has to happen like this. But God, I believe in the power of love. And then we activate our idea in the presence of love. In The Secrets of Divine Love, Halwa wrote, "You were called to be a hand to the fallen, a crutch for the broken, a healing presence for the sick. You were called to step out of your comfort zone and into the valleys of the hopeless like a lighthouse illuminating the dark corners of the earth." So what is yours to do? What is the purpose and the meaning of your life? I believe that it's not a pat answer, not to any of those questions, not what is ours to do, what is the purpose of your life, or what is the meaning of your life. But I think they're things that we engage in every day and live from every day. So why not be curious about what our definition is, what our belief around them is? And then we'll know why we're having the experience we are. I said last week that curiosity is a superpower. It's a superpower only when it asks questions, not when it condemns or accuses or belittles. Curiosity can be, There's a little story I know about a monk who was living in an abbey, and there was this one man who wanted to come and see him because he was known for his wisdom. This monk was known for his great wisdom. And so he made an appointment to go see him, and he traveled all day long to get to the abbey. And he got there, and the monk was gone. The abbey was closed. Oh, he was furious. He was just absolutely furious. He knew that man should have been there. He told him he would be there, and that's what his place is in life. He's supposed to serve, right? So he grabbed a piece of coal, and he wrote on the door, "Old fool," and left and stomped away. The next day, he heard a knock at his door. And he opened the door, and there's the monk. And the monk says to him, "Oh, I so apologize. I don't know what happened, but I just got carried away. I was out in the forest finding flowers and mushrooms and different things." And he said, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I knew that you'd been there. How did you know?" He said, "You left your name on my door." See, we want to be kind to ourselves. We don't even want to call ourselves names. We don't want to put ourselves down, because even though we might use the words lightly in referring to ourselves, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm not that. You know what? If it comes out of your mouth, you probably believe it. And then we can joke about it and pretend like we don't. But I ask you, any kind of condemnation about self, to get curious about it. To get curious about it. I had a really lovely exchange with someone. I was talking to her about what I was going to talk about this week, and I said, I'm just not sure, where it sits with me right now. And she said, "Well, let me just tell you, I'm getting ready to go out of state." And she said, I am so not feeling well. And so we got to talk about that. I said, "Are you curious about why you're not feeling well?" She said, "I knew that's what you were going to ask. I've already written it down." And it was so interesting because it had nothing to do with the business trip she was going on. It had nothing to do with the people she was going to meet for the first time. It had nothing to do with the cost or any of that. When she got curious about it, it was unfinished business at home. It was unfinished business at home. But she said, to begin with, she thought it was all the things I just mentioned, going on this trip and doing work that she was new to her and meeting new people, all these things, the cost of having to get a ticket, with only 5 days notice, all of that. It wasn't that. But see, we even sometimes fool ourselves and deny but it came to her and she didn't deny it, but sometimes we do. And that's when we say, "Oh, not really." Or, "I was just kidding. I didn't mean that. Oh, it was just a mistake." No. Don't fool yourself. It doesn't behoove us in our self-development, in our self-enlightenment. It doesn't behoove us to fool ourselves or deny what is truth, just as it doesn't behoove us to beat ourselves up for it. Write "old fool" across our faces. No, across our chest. No. Be curious. What is it that's really behind that? How do we know? And that same person shared a story with me, and she said, well, there was this young woman who had gotten a scholarship. She was from another country. She got a scholarship here to go to college. She worked two jobs and was really trying to do her best, and she went to the first semester of college and she was taking 5 classes. She got 2 barely passed, 2 failed, and 1 incomplete. She went to her advisor, and this is a girl who had worked all of her life to go to college. And her advisor asked her, what happened? She said, oh, I don't know. She said, yes, you do. Come back at 7 tonight and tell me what happened. So the girl had 3 hours to think about this, and she did. She said, came back and told the woman, she said, I know what happened. She said, it's the first time in my life I had freedom, and even though I had to work, I couldn't do the work and go with my friends and have coffee and see all the sights in the city and study. And she said, that's what I did. I just let it go. And so the advisor said, well, what are you going to do about that? She said, I'll study. She said, I want you to leave and come back tomorrow morning and have a plan. So the girl did. The girl left, and she came back, and she said, I'm going to study 2 hours a day. And she said, no. The advisor said, no, that's not going to work. You have a plan. You write this down, what you're doing in place of each thing. To make a long story short, the girl graduated with honors because she had a plan that she stepped into, because someone was kind enough to say, this isn't working, and you can do better. You can do better. You choose, but you can do better. Have a plan. Now, for me, planning, some things really, really works. Other things, it's kind of fly by my hair, I guess. But you know what? If what's important to you, you will make a plan for. I would like you to be, I'm curious to know if it works for you. I'm curious to know. I have something I'm going to write out a plan for, because otherwise I've been looking at doing this thing for about 6 years. It's not that big a deal, but it keeps hanging on. It's hung on for 6 years. It's something I want to try new. So now I'm going to have a plan. And then if I do not follow through with my plan, I'll know all it was a wishful thinking thing that really wasn't that important to me, but it just hung on, like an old habit. So I suggest having a plan. Try it, write it out, see how it works. And don't allow yourself to say, well, I'll study, or I'll go to that. Who are you going to go with? What time are you going to leave? Who's picking up whom? Those kinds of things. And it's not to hold you to anything. It's to expose you to something. It's just exposing you to what you really determine is important to you, or that you want to do, or that you don't want to do. Getting curious can really simplify our lives, even though it holds us accountable. It simplifies our lives. I loved what Elizabeth Gilbert said in Eat, Pray, Love. She said, I want God to play in my bloodstream the way that sunlight amuses itself on the water. I want God to play in my bloodstream the way that sunlight amuses itself on water. To me, that's talking about faith. That's talking about knowing. That's talking about understanding that I don't understand a darn thing that I do want to know, but I'm willing. That, to me, is saying, I want to crack the door, open the window, lift the shades, whatever it is. And I'm curious as to what I can be in the fullness of God, in the grace that I was born into. Each one of us, born of the grace of God. Each one of us, that child of the living Spirit. Each one of us, perfect, and perfectly capable of being our greater self. So let's just move into that place of calling forth that deep, intuitive goodness that expresses as love, expresses through love as goodness, as kindness, as generosity, as compassion. We are so capable of so much joy and harmony, peace, love, creative expression. Oh, we are so filled with that which is the infinite, which takes us into that field of infinite possibility. That which we are searching for, we are. It is within us. And as we move into life, being gentle and kind and open, we create a space for not only others to come into in safety and with love, but ourselves to grow. Oh my, I only know what I don't know. I love that. I only know what I don't know. But my soul knows goodness. Your soul, the soul of all. There's that spark of divinity. And as we choose to know it, to know ourselves, as we become self-aware, and as we hold ourselves accountable, we get to share the gifts that we are with the world without holding back, without limiting, because there is no limit to good. And with the support of the universe, for that which we do, that which we give, that which we are, that is centered in the truth of spirit, is forever supported. And so may we call this day good and this moment sacred. And the breath of God within us. And know that this is so. It will never change. It has always been this way, and it will always be this way. For God is God, and God is all there is. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
To share the holy presence with you, I open myself to this moment and let the light of our love shine through. How beautiful this moment to share the holy presence with you. I open my heart to this moment and let the light of our love shine through. sweet presence with you. I open my heart to this moment and let the light of our love shine through. And let the light of our love shine through.
Thank you. Very lovely. Thank you for opening our hearts. Yes, that was beautiful. Thank you. So for those who are joined us online, we thank you for being with us today. It's been a beautiful day. I know it's, what is it today? It's Super Bowl Sunday. How could I forget? It's Super Bowl Sunday, and so of course we just know how much excitement and how much the energy is so charged out there, folks. It is something else. So I'm just wishing you all a great Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you for being part of our Shining Mountain Center for Spiritual Living family. Thank you for supporting us online. There's a place on our website to help support this teaching and let us continue to do our work. So we thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you next week. God bless. Namaste. Thank you. Okay.